In today's class, we are going to take a look at simplification of surds. Let's ask ourselves a question: what is a surd? Now, let's take a look at this. If we have a square root of 9, we are going to get 3 as our answer. And that 3 is an integer. So let's also look at square root of 225. We are going to get an integer answer of 15. We also proceed to take a square root of 49. We are going to get an integer answer of 7. So all these examples are not surd. And why are they not surd? They are not surd because these numbers here are square numbers. They are perfect square. Now, let's take a look at this also. Square root of 2. If we take square root of 2, we are going to get 1.41421, and the number continues. If we also take square root of 38, we are going to get 6.1644, the number continues. We also take square root of 416, we are going to get 20.3, and the number continues. You can see in these examples now, you can see that the answer came out as decimals. And the reason is because the numbers inside this square root is not a number, is not a square number. So all this number, we have 2 inside the square root, we have 38, we have 416. All these numbers are not perfect square, or they are not square numbers. And this now becomes what we call surd. All these are what? Example of what? Surd. Now, a surd is an irrational number. A surd is an irrational numbers. Or you can say it is a square root, is a square root of numbers that are not square numbers. It is a square root of numbers that are not square numbers. Let's proceed to take a look at the rules of surd. Rule of surds. Now, the first one, we have the multiplication rule. The multiplication rule. Now, let's assume we have 6. Square root of 6 multiplied by square root of 5. This is also the same thing with square root of 6 multiplied by 5. And when you simplify that, you have square root of 30. We can also do it in this way. Square root of 12. This can also be square root of what? 6 multiplied by 2. This can also be equals to square root of 6 multiplied by square root of 2. Let's take the second rule, division rule. If we have square root of 24 divided by square root of 8, this is also the same thing as having only one square root. Then you have 24 divided by 8, which will give you square root of 3, because 24 divided by 8 will give you 3. Now, let's take a look at addition and subtraction rule. Let's see addition and subtraction rule. Okay, if we have square root of 7 plus square root of 3, this is not equals to having only one square root and having 7 plus 3. This is not a rule in Surds, not a rule. If we also have something like this, square root of 20 minus square root of 8, this is also not equals to square root of 20 minus 8. So this rule of Surds only works for multiplication and division. Okay, let's go back to simplification of what? Surds. All right, so let's take square root of 20. Square root of 20. Now, based on multiplication rule, we can split square root of 20 as this can be equals to square root of 1 multiplied by square root of 20. This can also be equals to square root of 2 multiplied by square root of 10. Taking the same square root of 20, it can also be equals to square root of 4 multiplied by square root of 5. So all these are factor pairs. They are factor pairs that multiply to make 20. That multiply to make what? To make 20. But there's one interesting thing about this. Whenever you are simplifying Surds, please take note of that. Whenever you are simplifying Surds, please look out for a factor pair that one of them is a square number. And also try to find the largest square number. Like for instance here, we are picking this. Yes, because here you can see that one of this pair is a square number, which is what? 4. 4 is a square number. And not only that is a square number, it is larger than all these factor pairs that make up to do what? Get 20. That is to say, when you are looking for square root of 20, you are asked to simplify square root of 20. First thing that should occur to your mind is to look for a factor pair. That is 2 factor pair that one of them is a square number. And that square number will be what? Will be the highest or the largest among other factor pairs. Like here, we have a factor pair of 1 and 20. 20 is not a perfect square. We have this 2 and 10. 10 being the largest number here is not a perfect square. But look at this, we have 4 and 5. 4 is a perfect square and it is larger. So we take it as this becomes what? Square root of 4 times square root of what? 5. Which will also give us square root of 4 multiplied by what? 5. Then you now take square root of 4 is going to give you 2. Then you bring the 2 out. So this will now be what? 2 root 5. Because when you take square root of 5, you are going to get a decimal number. So this becomes the answer of square root of 20 in a simplified form. Let's go ahead and take another example. Simplify square roots of 45. Now, square root of 45, the first step is we are going to look at 2 numbers that one of them is a perfect square. And when we do that, we are going to have square root of 9 multiplied by 5. So when you multiply 9 by 5, you are going to get 45. And 9 is a square number. So this will also be square root of 9 multiplied by square root of 5. Now, what is the square root of 9? Square root of 9 is what? Is 3. Then multiplied by square root of 5. So this becomes your answer, or you can write it as 3 root 5. This is the answer in a simplified form. Let's also take a look at another example. Let's take a look at another example. Simplify square root 98. The first thing to do is to look out for what? A factor pair that one of them is a square number. A factor pair of 98 that one of them is a perfect number. We can have square root of 49 multiplied by 2. So these are factor pair that one of them is a square number. And which of them here now is a square number? Is 49. 49 is a square number. So you can have this as square root of 49 multiplied by square root of 2. Then what is the value of square root 49. Square root of 49 is going to give us 7. Then multiplied by square root of 2. So this will now give us 7 root 2 as your answer. I hope that is well understood. Let's go ahead and take another example. Then let's have this square root of 24. Then we are going to look out for a factor pair that one of them is a square number. Now, if you do that, we are going to have 4 multiplied by 6. When you multiply 4 by 6, you are going to get 24. Then, and in this factor pair, there must be a perfect square or a square number, which is 4. 4 is a perfect square or it is a square number. Then we can also have this as square root of 4 multiplied by square root of what? 6. Then what is the value of square root of 4? We have it as 2. Then multiplied by square root of 6, which will give you 2 square root of what? 6. This becomes your answer. Okay, let's also take a look at another example. We have square root of 18. We are going to look for a factor pair that one of them is a square number. When you look at that, you get 9 multiplied by 2 will give you 18. And in this factor pair, we have 9 as a perfect square. So square root of 9 will give us 3. Then you have your root. So this becomes your answer. Now, what about this? We have square root of 48. What will be the answer in a simplified form? So it's going to be looking out for factor pair that one of them is a perfect square. We have what? 16 multiplied by 3. 16 multiplied by 3 will give you 48. And the square root of 16 is 4. Then we have 3 remaining in the square root. So this becomes your answer. Now, I'm going to give you an exercise to do. Please make sure you do it and put the answer in the comment section. And please don't forget to subscribe if you find this video interesting. And in our next class, we are also going to look at addition and subtraction of surds. Now, do this exercise. Find the square root of 75. Put the answer in the comment section. See you in the next class.